This video is about the mom waited at the village fair and a billionaire smiled at her. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The village fair was alive with laughter and lights, a tapestry of colors that fluttered against the deepening twilight. Children dashed between stalls, their shrieks of delight mingling with the sweet scent of cotton candy and caramel apples. Among the revelers stood Clara Holden, a single mother with a heart full of hope and a withered smile. Clara's eyes danced over the crowd, searching for her daughter, Lily, who had darted off to the face painting booth. At 32, Clara felt the weight of responsibilities pressing down on her. She had sacrificed career ambitions to raise her daughter alone, and while she found joy in their small moments together, a small part of her yearned for something more, a connection that felt out of reach. "Mom, look!" Lily squealed, her voice cutting through the cacophony as she returned, her cheeks adorned with a vibrant butterfly painted in bright pinks and purples. Clara knelt down, her heart swelling at the sight. "Oh, Lily, you look beautiful." She reached out, brushing a stray hair behind her daughter's ear. "Do you want to go on the Ferris wheel next?" "Yes, can we, please?" Lily bounced on her heels, her excitement infectious. "All right, let us go." Clara took her hand, weaving through the crowd, but as they approached the ride, she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. A tall figure loomed near the entrance of the Ferris wheel, clad in a tailored navy blazer that sharply contrasted with the casual atmosphere. His presence was magnetic, drawing Clara's gaze as he stood, a slight smile playing on his lips. She noticed that his dark hair was tousled just enough to hint at a rebellious nature, and his piercing blue eyes seemed to capture every fleeting moment around him. "Look, Mom, the Ferris wheel!" Lily asked, tugging at her arm broke her reverie. Clara led her daughter toward the ride, stealing glances at the man who had captivated her attention. There was an air of aloofness about him, yet the warmth of his smile suggested depths yet to be explored. As they climbed into their cabin, Clara and Lily settled into their seats, laughter still bubbling from the thrill of anticipation. The wheel began its ascent, and Clara allowed herself a moment to breathe, the wind gently tousling her hair. "Look at the view, Lily," she said, pointing out over the fairgrounds, now a patchwork of lights against the darkening sky. "It is amazing," Lily exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with wonder. But Clara's gaze drifted back to the stranger. He was now watching them, his expression unreadable. Something about the way he looked at them made Clara's heart skip a beat, blend of curiosity and unease stirring within her. Was it admiration? Or something more intrusive? As the wheel reached its peak, Clara felt a rush of exhilaration. "Look how high we are," she shouted, laughter spilling from both mother and daughter. Feeling emboldened, she glanced back at the tall man, and their eyes locked for a fleeting moment. The world around her faded as she found herself lost in the depths of his gaze, the noise of the fair diminished to a soft hum. Lily's excited chatter began to fade into the background, and Clara felt a strange connection surge through her, a mix of intrigue and yearning. But just as quickly, she shook herself free from the moment, reminding herself of the responsibilities that awaited her. When they disembarked, Clara felt a gentle nudge on her arm. "Can I get a stuffed animal, please?" Lily pleaded, her eyes wide and hopeful. "Of course, sweetheart," Clara replied, though the thought of spending money on a plush toy made her hesitate. Life had taught her to be frugal, to save every penny for necessities, yet the joy on Lily's face was worth the splurge. As they approached the game booth, Clara spotted the man again, this time standing closer, watching as children won their prizes. She felt a mix of discomfort and intrigue. What was someone like him doing at a village fair? He seemed out of place, yet his smile suggested he was there for the very essence of joy that surrounded them. "Excuse me," he said, stepping closer as if he had gathered the courage to approach her. His voice was deep, with a hint of something that made Clara's skin prickle. "I couldn't help but notice how happy your daughter looks. She is adorable." Clara felt her cheeks flush, a warmth spreading through her, and she instinctively straightened her posture. "Thank you, she loves this fair. It is our little tradition." "I am Alex," he introduced himself, extending a hand. "I am just visiting for the weekend. It is nice to see families enjoying life." "Clara," she replied, shaking his hand briefly, feeling a jolt of electricity at the contact. She quickly pulled back, suddenly self-conscious, aware of her fitted jeans and simple t-shirt. "Can I give her a chance to win a prize?" he offered, glancing down at Lily, who was now completely enthralled by a giant teddy bear hanging from the booth. That is really kind of you, but Clara hesitated. She didn't want to impose on a stranger, yet she could see Lily's hopeful gaze fixated on the prize. "I promise," just one game, he insisted, his smile disarming her defenses. I used to love these fairs as a kid. It's a good way to bring back some memories. Clara felt a small part of her heart soften at his sincerity. All right, just one game. Yeah. Lily cheered, pulling Clara toward the booth as Alex joined them. Clara watched as he deftly exchanged a bill for a set of darts, his movements confident and at ease. There was an effortless charm about him, an air that suggested he belonged to a world far removed from hers. With a flick of his wrist, he sent the darts flying, each one hitting the mark with precision. Clara's heart raced, not just from the thrill of the game but from the way he focused, the way his brow furrowed slightly in concentration. He turned to Lily after winning a small stuffed unicorn, handing it to her with a flourish. Here you go, little lady. Thank you. Lily beamed, clutching the unicorn tightly to her chest. Clara's insides twisted with an unexpected pang of jealousy. Why did she feel possessive over this moment? It was just a game, yet she felt as if he had stolen a precious memory from her, one that belonged solely to her and Lily. So, Clara, do you live here? Alex asked, his gaze fixed on her, making her feel exposed yet seen. Yes, we do. It's a small town. Keeps us grounded, she replied, her voice steady despite the flutter in her stomach. Grounded, haha, he mused, a teasing lilt to his tone. Sounds like a good reason to escape to the fair once in a while. Or to escape to the city if you were a billionaire, Clara quipped before she could rein in her words. The moment hung between them, an unspoken tension crackling in the air. He chuckled, the sound rich and warm. Touch, I guess I should stop hiding behind my blazer then. Maybe, Clara replied, her heart racing. But I think it suits you. The banter flowed easily, and for a brief moment, the hustle and bustle of the fair faded away. Clara found herself leaning in, drawn to his charm, and for the first time in years, she felt a flicker of interest that she thought she had buried deep. But just as she began to relax, a familiar face emerged from the crowd. Mark, her ex-husband. Their eyes met, and Clara's heart sank. She had hoped to avoid him, especially here, where they had made so many memories together. The tension in her chest returned, overshadowing the magic of the moment with Alex. Clara, Mark called out, a hint of reproach in his voice. You didn't tell me you were coming to the fair? Just a spontaneous decision, she replied, forcing a smile that felt brittle. She could feel Alex's presence beside her, a steady anchor amidst the sudden storm of emotions flooding her heart. As Mark approached, Clara braced herself. She could feel the uneasy tension between them, a past filled with unspoken words and unresolved feelings hovering in the air. Alex shifted slightly, as if sensing the change, and Clara's heart raced at the prospect of what came next. Is this your partner? Mark asked, his brow furrowing, confusion apparent in his voice. No, just a friendly encounter, Clara said, the words slipping out before she had a chance to think. She felt a rush of heat, wishing she could take them back. But the way Alex stood beside her, calm and amused, gave her a newfound strength. Well, I am glad to see you out enjoying life, Mark said, his tone sharp but laced with an undercurrent of something deeper regret. Jealousy? Clara couldn't tell. Yeah, it has been nice, she replied, trying to keep her voice steady. Lilia's having fun. Good to hear, Mark said, his eyes darting to the stuffed unicorn in Lilia's hands. Looks like someone is having a great time. Thanks to Alex, Clara quickly added, gesturing toward the previous pot. He won it for her at the game. Right, nice of you, Mark said, his tone slightly skeptical, eyes narrowing as he assessed Alex. Clara felt the tension mounting, a mix of protectiveness and irritation bubbling to the surface. She wanted to brush off Mark's scrutiny but found her own resolve wavering. It's just a bit of fun, Alex said, his eyes darting between the two adults, as if he sensed the shifting energy. I am visiting for the weekend. Thought I'd relive some childhood memories. Childhood memories? Mark scoffed lightly, but there was an edge to his voice. How quaint. Clara's stomach churned at the implication. This wasn't just an innocent gathering anymore. We were just enjoying the fair, she interjected, forcing a smile that felt tight on her lips. Isn't that right, Lily? Yeah, can we go on the carousel now, Mom? Lily chimed in, oblivious to the undercurrent swirling among the adults. Of course, Clara said, eager for an escape. Let us go, sweetie. Alex stepped aside to let them pass, and Clara felt an unexpected pang at the distance that grew between them. It was nice to meet you, Alex, she called back, her heart pounding. Likewise, Clara, he replied, a hint of warmth in his voice that sent a shiver down her spine. As they made their way toward the carousel, Lily's laughter filled the air, yet Clara couldn't shake the unease creeping into her thoughts. She stole glances back at Alex, who stood with his hands in his pockets, watching them with an enigmatic smile. "Mom, can I ride on the horse with the sparkles?" Lily asked, her eyes wide with innocence. "Of course, darling," Clara replied, though her mind drifted. What was it about Alex that made her feel alive? She was a mother, and her priorities were clear, yet she couldn't help but wonder what could have been if circumstances were different. As they boarded the carousel, Clara felt the gentle sway of the horses, but her heart was racing as a fleeting thought crossed her mind. What if she allowed herself to feel something? What if she opened the door to a world of possibilities? "Look at me!" Lily shouted, her face lit with joy, her little body bouncing in the saddle of the bright pink horse. "Yes, you re the queen of the carousel." Clara cheered, snapping a few pictures on her phone. But her smile faltered as she caught sight of Mark again, lingering at a nearby stall, watching her with an unreadable expression. "Mom." Lily's voice broke through her thoughts, and Clara turned to see her daughter beaming. "You were supposed to be on the horse too." "Right, how could I forget?" Clara laughed, joining her on a nearby horse, allowing herself to embrace the moment. The carousel spun, and the world blurred into a whirl of colors, laughter, and the sweet scent of fried dough. As they dismounted, Clara's heart still raced, not just from the carousel, but from the memory of Alex's smile, the warmth of his presence. "Can we get some cotton candy now?" Lily pleaded, her eyes sparkling with delight. "Absolutely," Clara replied, but a gentle hand on her arm stopped her. "Clara," Mark said, stepping closer. "Can we talk for a minute?" She looked at him, searching for the right words. "There is nothing to talk about, Mark." "Please," he insisted, his voice softer. "Just 1 minute." Clara hesitated, torn between the past that felt so heavy and the tantalizing possibilities of a future that seemed just out of reach. "Fine," she said reluctantly, leading him to a quieter corner away from the thrumming excitement of the fair. "I didn't expect to see you here," Mark began, his hands shoved in his pockets. "You usually avoid the fair." "Things change," Clara replied coolly. "Just wanted to give Lily a good time." He studied her for a moment, his eyes searching her face. "She looks happy." "Of course she is." Clara crossed her arms, feeling defensive. "This is her world, Mark, not ours." "I know," he sighed, running a hand through his hair. I didn't mean to interrupt. I saw you with that guy." "Alex," she corrected, irritation flaring. "Yes, just someone who was nice to Lily." "Right, just a stranger, then?" Mark's voice was edged with skepticism. "What is your point?" Clara snapped, feeling her pulse quicken. "You were here too, aren't you? What is your excuse?" "I was here for the kids' activities," he said, his tone defensive. "This isn't just about us anymore." "Sure, it is about Lily," Clara replied, her voice steady but her heart racing. "And she is having a great time." "I don't like the idea of you getting close to someone like him," Mark pressed, his expression darkening. "Someone like him?" Clara echoed, bewildered. "What does that even mean?" "Someone who can just waltz in and out of our lives. You know how it is. He is different," he said, his voice tense. "He probably doesn't understand what it means to raise a child." Clara felt her chest tighten. "You mean someone who isn't afraid to smile and connect with my daughter? Someone who treats her like a person rather than a pawn in our game?" Mark opened his mouth, then closed it, the weight of her words hanging heavily in the air. "Look," Clara softened, taking a deep breath. "I am not looking for anyone. I just want Lily to be happy." "Right," Mark said, his expression softening slightly. "I just worry about you, about her." "I know you do," Clara replied, her voice calmer. "But I can take care of us." "Okay," he said, his shoulders dropping slightly. "I didn't mean to start a fight." "Neither did I," she admitted. "But let us keep this fair about Lily, not about us." "Agreed," Mark said, finally offering a reluctant smile. "Let us go find her." As they rejoined Lily, Clara felt the weight lift slightly, yet the memory of Alex lingered at the edge of her mind. She could see him still, chatting animatedly with a group of children, his laughter echoing above the noise of the fair. "Look, there's Alex," Lily shouted, pointing. "Oh, no," Clara muttered, a flush creeping up her neck. "Let us go say hi." Lily tugged at her hand, pulling her toward the group. Clara felt her heart race, fear and excitement blurring together. Hey," Clara said, stepping forward, her voice slightly shaky. "Hey, Clara." Alex's smile was bright, his eyes sparkling with friendly mischief. "Join us for the balloon animals." I. Clara glanced back at Mark, who wore a bemused expression. Sure, why not? As they entered the small circle, Clara felt the warmth radiating from Alex, a magnetic pull that made her heart flutter. She watched as he easily interacted with Lily, his face lighting up with every giggle she shared. Do you want a puppy or a sword? Alex asked, kneeling down beside her. His attention was completely focused on Lily, making Clara feel like an onlooker in a scene she never wanted to interrupt. Puppy! Lily exclaimed, her eyes wide with joy. Alex grinned, making quick work of the balloon. Clara felt a mix of protectiveness and admiration stir within her. Who was this man who could connect with her daughter so effortlessly? There you go, Alex announced, handing Lily the balloon with a flourish. A beautiful puppy, just for you. Thank you. Lily squealed, holding it up proudly. Clara's heart swelled as she looked at the two of them, but that feeling was quickly interrupted by the sharp pang of anxiety. What if this connection between them meant something deeper? What if it meant change? Clara, Alex said, turning to her, his expression softening as he caught her gaze. You should come to the city sometime. I'd love to show you around. Clara felt her breath hitch as she opened her mouth to reply, but no words came out. Mom, can we? Lily chimed in eagerly, her excitement contagious. Off. Clara hesitated, her mind racing back to her responsibilities and the constraints of her life. Could she step outside the carefully constructed boundaries of her day-to-day existence? Only if you want to, Alex added gently, his eyes searching hers for understanding. Clara felt torn, caught between the life she knew and the tantalizing possibilities that lay ahead, which made her heart race. The moment felt suspended in time, alive with potential. Let us just enjoy the fair for now, she finally said, forcing a smile despite the flutter of uncertainty in her chest. Sounds like a plan, Alex replied, a hint of disappointment in his eyes. The fair swirled around them like a dream, vibrant and chaotic. Clara felt the pull of the lights and laughter, but also a heaviness in her heart, a tension that crackled in the air whenever she glanced at Alex. Mom, can we go on the bumper cars now? Lily's voice rang out, innocent and full of excitement, yanking Clara from her thoughts. Let us go, Clara replied, forcing a smile as she took Lily's hand. Yet her heart lingered on Alex, who still stood with the group of children, his handsome features lit by the carousel lights. Do you think yes, nice? Lily asked, her tone serious as she tilted her head, studying her mother. Alexa. Clara paused, contemplating her response. He seems kind, doesn't he? Kind is good. Can I be his friend? Lily's enthusiasm was contagious, and Clara felt a swell of affection for her daughter. Yet a twinge of anxiety shot through her. Let us focus on you having fun, sweetheart, Clara replied, trying to push the thought away. She couldn't deny how Alex made her feel like an unguarded child again, even as the adult responsibilities loomed. They reached the bumper cars, and Clara held onto her daughter while watching the chaos unfold. Children screamed and laughed as they collided into one another, the delight evident on their faces. Clara felt a pang of longing. She wanted to be carefree, to lose herself in the moment like they did. Mom, can I drive alone? Lily's voice broke through her reverie. Sure, but remember to keep your hands on the wheel, Clara instructed, watching her daughter scramble into the brightly colored car. A sudden wave of protectiveness washed over her. As Lily sped off, Clara leaned against the railing, her heart racing with a mix of pride and worry. She was so lost in thought that she didn't notice Mark approaching until he stood beside her. Looks like she is having a blast, he said, glancing at Lily. She is, Clara replied curtly, still feeling the remnants of their earlier conversation. Do you think you will all be alright with Alex around? Mark asked, his voice low but firm. Clara felt her heart race, not with fear but anger. Why do you care? Clara shot back, her irritation bubbling to the surface. He is just a guy at the fair who was nice to her. I just don't want you to get hurt again, Mark replied, his tone softer now. You know what happened last time. Clara turned to Mark, her eyes narrowing. And what about you? You think it is okay to just waltz back in and check on me? You left us, remember? He fell silent, the weight of their shared history thickening the air between them. Clara felt a mix of guilt and frustration wash over her. She didn't want to revisit their past, but it seemed to cling to them like a shadow. I know I messed up, he finally said, his voice regretful. But that doesn't mean I don't care about you both. Before Clara could respond, Lily's joyous laughter echoed through the air, and her tiny figure came racing back toward them, her face flushed with excitement. Mom, I bumped into a car, and it was so much fun. Did you win? Clara asked, her irritation forgotten as she crouched down to meet her daughter's eyes. Kind of, I almost flipped the car, Lily said, bouncing on her heels. Mark chuckled softly, his jaw dropping a little more. You were a little speed demon. Let us go on the Ferris wheel again, Lily suggested, her eyes sparkling. Alright, but this time, Mom goes too. Clara grinned, the genuine joy of the moment melting her earlier frustrations. They made their way back toward the Ferris wheel, and Clara stole a glance at Alex again, who caught her eye and smiled. The warmth of his gaze sent a thrill through her, but she pushed it away, focused on Lily. As they approached the ride, Clara felt the sudden tension in the air shift, as if the universe was conspiring to bring her and Alex closer. Hey, Clara, he called out, gliding over with that effortless charm. Hi, Alex, Clara replied, trying to keep her tone steady. Looks like you had fun on the bumper cars, he said, glancing at Lily, whose excitement was palpable. Yeah, I bumped so many cars, Lily exclaimed, her infectious joy lighting up the space around them. Sounds like a champion. Alex grinned, and Clara felt her heart flutter again. Are you going to ride the Ferris wheel with us? Lily asked, her eyes wide with hope. I'd love to, Alex replied, his gaze shifting to Clara. If that's alright with you? Of course, Clara said, trying to keep her voice even. The thought of sharing a ride with him made her pulse quicken. As they climbed into the cabin, Clara's heart raced. She found herself sandwiched between Lily and Alex, their laughter rising above the clanking of the machinery. Look at the lights, Lily exclaimed, her eyes wide as the ride began its ascent. Clara turned her gaze to the fairground below, but her thoughts were elsewhere, mostly on Alex. What do you think? He asked, leaning slightly closer to her, his presence warm and inviting. It's beautiful, Clara replied, her voice barely above a whisper. I meant the view, but I'll take that answer too. Alex's playful tone made her cheeks heat, and she glanced away, caught off guard by the flirtation. Lily giggled, oblivious to the electric tension between her mother and Alex. Mom is blushing. I'm not. Clara protested, but the heat in her cheeks betrayed her. You're just a little, Alex teased, and Clara could feel his eyes on her, searching for a connection. The moment felt charged, and her heart raced in response. As they reached the peak, the fair spread out before them like a sea of light and color. Clara inhaled deeply, feeling the cool night air on her face. This is my favorite part, she admitted, her voice lowering as she looked out. It feels like you can see the whole world from up here. It really does, Alex said softly, his gaze still fixed on her. And you're right in the middle of it. Clara could feel the intensity of his gaze, and the moment stretched, filled with an unspoken promise. Just as she felt herself leaning into it, the cabin swayed slightly, jolting them back to reality. What? Lily exclaimed, gripping the side. Are we going to fall? No, sweetie, just a little bump, Clara reassured her, though her heart was racing for another reason. Once the wheel began to descend, Clara felt a wave of disappointment wash over her. The moment had been exhilarating, and she was desperate to linger in that connection with Alex. As they disembarked, Mark was waiting for them at the bottom, his expression unreadable. Clara stiffened, feeling a sudden chill at his presence. Hey, how is it? He asked, trying to sound casual, but she could sense the underlying scrutiny. Great. Lily chirped, her energy undiminished. Alex came with us. Mark's gaze shifted to Alex, and Clara felt a flash of tension crackle in the air. Nice to meet you again, Alex, Mark said, his tone curt, and Clara braced herself for the inevitable awkwardness. Good to see you, Mark, Alex replied smoothly, his smile unwavering, but Clara noticed the tension in the way he held himself. Do you have plans for the rest of the evening? Mark asked, his tone subtly probing. I was just going to enjoy the fair for a while longer, Alex said, looking between them, clearly aware of the dynamic. Right, Mark replied, his expression guarded. Clara felt her frustration bubbling again. Why did he have to insert himself into every moment? Mom, can we get cotton candy now? Lily's voice broke through the tension, filled with innocence. Yes, let us do that, Clara exclaimed, eager for a distraction. What flavor do you want? Pink, Lily shouted, her eyes lighting up. All right, let us go. Clara urged Lily ahead, and as they walked, she felt Mark's presence linger behind them. Clara, he called out, catching up. Can we talk for a second? About what? She asked, trying to keep her annoyance at bay. Just about him. You know you don't have to get involved with someone just because he is nice to Lily. Why do you keep saying that? Clara snapped, turning to face him. You make it sound like I am looking for someone. I am not. I just want Lily to have fun. I get that, Mark said, rubbing the back of his neck. But I can't help but worry. Worry about what? She pressed, feeling her frustration boil over. About me, or about losing control? It is about you both. I don't want her to get attached to someone who is just going to leave. Leave? Clara shot back, feeling her heart race. The air buzzed with the excitement of the village fair, a vibrant cacophony of laughter and music mingling with the sweet scent of fried dough and caramel. Clara's heart raced as she led Lily, her daughter, toward the cotton candy stand. Yet a nagging thought lingered in her mind, intertwining with the joy of the evening, a certain tall figure lingering in her thoughts. Mom, look at the big pink one. Lily squealed, pointing at the immense cotton candy spun into a cloud of sugary delight. All right, my little sugar monster. Let us get you the biggest one they have, Clara replied, her voice airy, trying to shake off her earlier conversation with Mark. Yet as they stood in line, her thoughts drifted to Alex. She couldn't deny the way her heart fluttered when he smiled at her. Mom, are you even listening? Lily tugged at her hand, her eyes wide with impatience. Of course, she replied, snapping back to reality. I was just thinking about the best flavor for you. Pink is the best flavor. Lily insisted, bouncing on her toes. All right, pink it is. Clara chuckled, making her way to the front of the line. As she paid for the towering treat, she felt Mark's gaze still lingering on her from a distance. Here you go, Clara said, presenting the fluffy pink confection to Lily, who accepted it with gleeful squeals. Clara couldn't help but smile, the simple joy in Lily's eyes reminding her of the importance of these moments. As they wandered away from the stand, Clara's heart fluttered once more when she spotted Alex across the fairgrounds, engaged in conversations with a group of children, his laughter infectious. Without thinking, she led Lily toward him, her heart pounding in her chest. Look, it is Alex, she said, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotion stirring within her. Hi, Clara, hi, Lily. Alex greeted them warmly, his eyes lighting up as he approached. I see you got the biggest cotton candy in the fair. That is impressive. Thank you, Lily replied, her face practically glowing with pride. Want to share it with me? Alex asked, crouching down to Lily's level. I promise I'll make it disappear. Okay. Lily giggled, offering a piece to Alex, who took a dramatic bite, pretending to savor the sweetness. Clara watched, her heart warming at the sight, though an unsettling feeling crept in. Looks like you two are having a blast, Clara said, attempting to suppress the nervousness that threatened to bubble over. It has been a fantastic night, Alex replied, his gaze lingering on Clara before shifting back to Lily. I was just showing them how to make balloon animals. Want to join? Can I, Mom? Lily asked, her eyes sparkling with hope. Sure, why not? Clara replied, though a flicker of anxiety crossed her mind. Was it appropriate to let Lily get close to him? She pushed the thought aside. This was a fun moment, and it was about her daughter. As they joined the group, Clara felt the chemistry between her and Alex simmering just beneath the surface. The fingers brushed when he handed her a balloon, sending electric shocks through her body. She could sense the connection, yet the shadows of her past loomed large. Here is a puppy for you, Alex said, carefully twisting the balloon into shape before presenting it to Lily, who squealed with delight. Clara's heart swelled at the sight, but a dark thought flickered in her mind. What would it mean for her and Lily if Alex became a regular part of their lives? Thanks, Alex. Can I name him Sparky? Lily exclaimed, clutching the balloon with both hands. Of course, Sparky it is. Alex laughed, his eyes sparkling as he watched the little girl celebrate her new friend. Do you want a balloon, Clara? He asked, turning to her, his playful tone making her heart race. Oh, no, I couldn't eat it. Clara began, but the sincerity in his gaze made her rethink. Well, maybe a small one? Just one moment, he said with a wink as he began twisting the balloons with practiced ease. Clara felt a flurry of butterflies in her stomach as he glanced back at her. Here you go. Alex presented her with a simple heart-shaped balloon. For the Queen of the Fair. Clara chuckled, accepting the balloon as embarrassment washed over her cheeks. Thank you, that is lovely. Just like you, he replied, the warmth in his voice sending a shiver down her spine. Their eyes locked momentarily, and Clara felt the world around her fade away, the bustling fair melting into the background. Mom, look! Lily interrupted, pulling Clara back to reality. There's a magician. Can we go watch? Yes, of course, Clara said, grateful for the distraction. They made their way to the small crowd gathering around the magician, and Clara felt Alex close beside her, his presence a comforting weight. As the magician began his act, Clara tried to focus on the performance, but her thoughts kept drifting back to Alex. He was charming, attentive, and made her feel seen in a way she hadn't experienced in years. Yet shadows of doubt crept in. Could she really let someone into their lives again? Did she have the emotional capacity for that? Did you see that? Alex whispered, nudging her shoulder playfully as the magician pulled a rabbit out of his hat. It's all about misdirection. Good thing you're not a magician then, Clara teased, her heart fluttering as she leaned into him just a bit. Is that a challenge? He replied, his eyes sparkling with mischief. Maybe, she challenged back, feeling the tension shift once more. You could show me some tricks later if you were brave enough. Oh, I am brave, he shot back, a confident smirk on his lips that sent heat pooling in her stomach. The show continued, and Clara found herself getting lost in the moment. Lily was fully enraptured, her laughter ringing out like music, and Clara felt lightened by the connection she shared with her daughter and the warmth of Alex beside her. Yes, as the performance wrapped up and the crowd began to disperse, Clara felt a sudden pang of anxiety. What if they were just moments away from a goodbye? Hey, Clara, Alex said, leaning closer, his voice low and inviting. Would you like to grab a bite to eat? There's a great place nearby. Clara hesitated, emotions swelling within her. What would Mark think? What about her responsibilities? But then she looked at Lily, who was practically bouncing on her feet, eyes alight with excitement. Yes, let us go, Clara said, surprising even herself with her eagerness. Awesome, you're going to love it, Alex grinned, and Clara felt her heart flutter as they walked side by side. As they made their way through the fairground, Clara couldn't shake the feeling of Marqu's eyes on her. She turned briefly to see him watching them, a storm brewing in his expression. Clara's stomach twisted, longing for the freedom to enjoy this moment without the weight of her past bearing down on her. Mom, can we get ice cream too? Lily asked, pulling her back to the present. Sure, Clara replied, forcing a smile as she felt Alex's presence beside her. She was beginning to forget the tension that had lingered with Mark. Great, I know the best place, Alex said, leading the way. Clara felt her pulse quicken with excitement as they approached a small ice cream stand adorned with twinkling lights. 2 ice creams, please. Lily bounced up to the counter, her enthusiasm infectious. Clara felt lighter, caught up in her daughter's joy. Do you want to share a sundae? Alex asked, leaning closer to Clara, his voice soft and inviting. Sure, she replied, feeling a rush of warmth at the suggestion. The intimacy of the moment made her heart race. As they awaited their order, Clara glanced over at Lily, who was happily chatting with the ice cream vendor, her face smeared with sugary delight. Clara's heart swelled with love. This moment is beautiful, she said, almost to herself. It is, Alex agreed, his eyes twinkling with sincerity. And you deserve more of these moments, Clara. Thank you, she murmured, feeling vulnerable. It is just hard sometimes. Life is complicated, Alex replied, his gaze steady and reassuring. But it doesn't have to be heavy all the time. Before she could respond, Lily bounded back toward them, her ice cream cone practically spilling over. Look, Mom, it is rainbow sprinkles. Wow, that looks amazing, Clara said, trying to match her daughter's energy. But even as she smiled, a flicker of doubt crept into her mind. Was she ready to pursue even a friendship with Alex? As they dug into their ice cream, laughter filled the air, and Clara couldn't help but relish the moment. But in the back of her mind, the weight of her responsibilities loomed large. Thank you for tonight, Alex, she said, her voice softening as they finished their sundaes. It has been wonderful. I am glad you were enjoying yourself, he replied sincerely,